Jai Jagannath. Jai Jagannath. We are going to discuss about the funeral rites in Hinduism. Vinay, your camera is showing me your very nice air conditioner.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's see. I have done a little bit of research while before to prepare this meeting. One thing it should be, I think, should be clarified. First of all, because in Hinduism there is a great freedom and great interest in adapting to Desha Kalapatra. So during the different times, different ages, there are even big changes. Like for example, you know that the four Varnas are there only in Kali Yuga. Satya Yuga, there was only one Varna, Paramahamsa Varna, because everybody was qualified, had the highest qualifications. And also, we know that Adi Shankar, within this Kali Yuga, after this Kali Yuga started, Adi Shankar changed a lot of things. Adapted, created a new platform that was easier for people to follow in Kali Yuga. For example, he created the concept of the Mata. But by the way, Mira, there is a little echo. Can you hear it? Let's see.
No,
You cannot hear it, huh? You're not using headphones.
no.
Okay.
Maybe I will mute myself. Whenever I have to ask something, I will ask. Perhaps
Possible, yeah, we can do that.
Possible.
Or otherwise, next time we can find a headphone,
yes.
because my voice doesn't reverberate in your room,
Yes.
so it doesn't come back. Okay, so yeah, whenever you want to talk, you just switch on the microphone again.
Yes. Fine.
Okay, so what I was is that, for example, Adi Shankar created the system of the mat, which was totally non-existent in the Vedic system. In the Vedic system, there is no school of thought. There is no sampradaya. Even in the yoga system, in the tantra system, the sampradaya is not the important thing. The important thing is the relationship, the direct personal relationship between guru and sishya. So much that a student can accept many different gurus from different areas of expertise. So there is absolutely no contradiction in taking Diksha from a Vaishnava specifically, from a Shaiva specifically, from a Smarta Brahmana specifically, from a Tantric guru, from a Yoga guru. We can, collect all these Dikshas, and we are not betraying any of them. In fact, in the Vedic system, at each yagya there was a diksha. Every time the karta, someone who wanted to perform the yagya, started the proceedings, he appointed a guru, the acharya. And the acharya was directing the whole thing. Under the acharyas there were three other brahmanas. There were 4 brahmanas in total in each yagya. I am talking about social yagyas, public yagyas. The yagyas were celebrated where the karta was generally the king. So there were these 4 brahmanas, each one with specific, the Udgata and this, and I don't remember the titles, but the main one was called the Acharya. The Acharya was the one who was who had the task of overseeing the entire procedure and correcting any imperfection or mistake or shortcoming. And in the beginning, before starting the actual ceremony, the karta would be initiated by the acharya, and that's how it became the karta officially. It goes together with the sankalpa. So when the karta, the person who is for whom the yagya is performed, the karta approaches the acharya and makes a sankalpa. I want to do this ritual for this purpose today. The astrological position, I am the descendant of whatever, of the gotra, whatever, And this was the official diksha for that particular ceremony. So in one lifetime, one could take, I don't know how many dikshas. Loads of them. And each one of them had a specific purpose. So a tantric guru can give diksha only about the tantric kriya process. So the Vedic karma kanda guru can only give diksha in what he is specifically expert. So someone who wants to become expert in more than one field, they collect all the dikshas and studies separately every subject with the suitable teacher. And the teacher or guru is overseeing the entire procedure, both for the puja, the homa, the sadhana, the achara, all the rules for the yagya, for the ritual. So this changed a lot when Adi Shankar saw that the number of really qualified brahmanas had become very low, because the brahmanas had become corrupted by greed and material identification, material attachments. So they were not doing their duty. They were doing their job. So Adi Shankar created this system of the mat and the sampradaya to keep a little more control over the qualification of the teachers. It was a big change. So now, from the times of Adi Shankara, still long time has passed. The original Shastra that was traditionally used is the Garuda Purana, which I have downloaded. So we have here I can do some screen sharing. So we have online, we can find two main versions that I found, that we can put the link in the description of the video. This one is a summary. It's not a complete edition. You see here it's about the half of the, okay, page 52. Let's go up. Garuda Purana is a translation of an abridged version of the Garuda Purana. It's one of the Vishnu Puranas. It's a dialogue between Vishnu and Garuda. And it's one of the 18 main Puranas. So this is the list of the chapters. So we have the miseries of the sinful in this world and another, the way of Yama, the torments of Yama, the kind of sins which lead to hell, the signs of sins, the miseries of birth of the sinful. Babruhavana's sacrament for the departed one starts from page 52 of this particular edition. So we have the gifts for the dying, the rites for the dying, the collection of the bones or ashes from the fire, the 10-day ceremonies, the 11th day rite, the ceremony for all the ancestors with the Shraddha in the Pitru Paksha, the city of the king of justice means Yama, the coming to birth of people who have done good, and the law for liberation. So we can go back to the page 52 and have going to see okay, maybe even the previous chapter, the Babruhavana's rituals. Let's see. So accounts of gifts for the dying. Then here. Babruvahana's sacrament for the departed one. Sutta is narrating the discussion between Garuda and Vishnu. So say, having heard this, Garuda, trembling like a leaf of the holy fig tree, the banyan tree, again questioned Keshava for the benefit of men. Garuda said, tell me by what means men who have committed sin unknowingly or knowingly escape from the torments of the servants of Yama. For those men who are immersed in the ocean of transmigration of weak intelligence, their reason clouded by sin, their self dimmed by attachment to sense objects, for their uplifting, tell me, O Lord, the exact meaning of the Puranas and the means by which people attain a happy condition, O Mother. Blessed Lord said, O Tarksha, you have done well in asking for the benefit of men. Listen attentively and I will tell you all. Okay, this is also, I think we need to do some clarification here, because the translation of the original word Naraka into the English similar concept of hell is not an exact translation, because Naraka is not hell. It's a different thing. Naraka, first of all, Naraka is not eternal. It means that the criminal is only staying in Naraka for the time required to understand his mistake. Because after that, as soon as the criminal can really understand his crime, he gets the opportunity to take another birth, to fix the damage, to pay the bad karma. So this is one of the biggest points. In fact, also, for example, in Orthodox Christianity, which is a Christianity sect from Russia and Greece, for example, also they believe that hell is not permanent, it's not eternal. But they don't connect the time period of hell to the individual's realizations and repentance. They only connect it to the end of the world, because Christians have the idea that the world will end. So in the final judgment, the last days, the end of days, whatever you want to call it, they believe that the world will be destroyed and the new world will be created, some kind of spiritual world. And at that point, the criminals who were in hell will also come out of hell for the last judgment. And if they are not worthy, they will just be destroyed. They are not going to take a new birth. Of course, Catholics and Protestants have different ideas, but we don't really care. The point is, in the Naraka is a very temporary, situation. Another important thing that is very confused in Christianity, the Abrahamic religions in general, Christianity especially Islam, is who goes to hell. Because they believe they are the body and they have a soul. When they die, it's a bit confused. Who goes to hell? The body doesn't go to hell. Because, it decomposes, it becomes, ashes, whatever, dust, whatever. So the body doesn't go to hell. So if I am the body, I will not go to hell. Like, what? And the soul is, we don't know what the soul can suffer. Because the soul, of course, doesn't have a material body, so it cannot suffer physically. So the tortures of hell are, more likely, logically, are more likely to be mental tortures. Just like when we have a nightmare. When we die, death is not very different, much different from dreams. The difference is that we don't wake up because we don't have a physical body to wake up to. Like the body is like a vehicle, like a house. When the vehicle is destroyed and the house is destroyed, we cannot go back into the vehicle, into the house. So we are left outside to walk, on foot. And until we get a new house or a new vehicle. In the meantime, it's a dream state. It's what the Tibetans call the bardo. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is entitled the Bardo Todo. It's a particular type of dimension, a subtle dimension, which is exactly like the dreams. So in the dreams, when we have a nightmare, we actually suffer. But it's not a physical suffering, you know. Like we can feel the pain, but there is no damage to the body. Like we see, you know, in the dream, we see the tiger, and the tiger is, you know, killing us. The tiger is just on the mental level. Still, we feel, you know, pain and fear and everything. So this is the idea, the dimension of Naraka. In fact, it's the conscience of the criminal that is torturing him. It doesn't need, we don't need any Yamadutas. You know, each person can torture himself very well. No need for help. You know, just do it by yourself. It's very easy. So we go back to this to what happens in the fate of the sinful and those without sons. Okay, this is another interesting point. The son saves his father from the hell called Put. Therefore, he was named Putra. So, even a single son, if righteous, carries the whole family over. By the son he conquers the world, is the ancient saying. The Vedas also proclaim the great importance of the son. Accordingly, having seen the face of a son, one is relieved from the debt of the forefathers. By the touch of his grandson, a mortal is released from the threefold debt. With the help of sons, grandsons, and great-grandsons, he goes from the worlds and obtains heaven. So, this is also another interesting point. To better focus, to better understand this idea, we need to remember that in the Vedic system, a son, a biological son, an adopted son, or disciples are exactly the same. One does not need to have a biological son. One could have an adopted son or a disciple, and that will do perfectly well. Now, because people are identifying too much with the physical body, they try to get a biological son. And this is a source of so much suffering. It's due to ignorance only. Because people who identify with the physical body, they think that the son must be a biological son. A biological child that is a male child, is a boy, and the boy will have to marry and have children. And this is a big problem. This is a big problem. First of all, because when you have a biological son, you never know what kind of person is coming to your family. Especially when the so-called caste brahmanas are not following the guna and karma of a brahmana. Because they're supposed to have the garbhadhana samskara to attract a sattvic personality, at least, as a child. Who does that? I think nobody does that. And also, when apart from the garbhadhana samskara and all the other samskaras, the atmosphere, the level of consciousness of the parents and the family in general during the the pregnancy and the delivery, the birth of the child and the first 5 years is not done properly, because even a soul that was not 100% good, through the samskaras during pregnancy and after the garbhadana, other samskaras are there, and also the atmosphere, the guna and karma of the family should shape the mentality of the child. And this is not happening, because how many caste brahmanas are actually doing the duties of the brahmana? That is also a very small number. So if we read from the Shastra, we have to make sure that we can also apply the teachings of the Shastras in a proper manner. Because if we take the teachings of the Shastra only superficially, without the real understanding, without the proper realization, without the proper application, we make a mess. It's like when you cook. You read the recipe, but if you don't know how to cook, if you're not a good cook, the result will not be the same. Very easily it will be a mess. So we can definitely go ahead and read the entire Garuda Purana. This is the abridged, the short version, And then we have the departed one. I will tell you everything from the beginning, blah, blah. So we have a dead guy talking. Then saying that we have to put all the offerings to the deities and everything. All the rules, the pots, 13 sets of pots to brahmanas. You say Brahmins. They are trying to be, nice and put the diacritic marks, but they don't know the grammar, and they don't know the writing, because Bra with a long A is okay, but where is the I coming from? It should be Brahmanas. Brahmana. Brahmanas, okay, but Brahmins, okay, thanks. So anyway, we go on. The gift to the dead and the army, blah, 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 footnotes, Vishnu, okay, Brahmana there. Then we have an account of the gifts for the dying, So not only after the death, but also along the entire process of dying, one should be extremely careful and follow the system. And who's doing that? Most people today die in hospitals. And there is zero chance of any spiritual or religious activity in hospitals. So, okay, even if in emergency someone dies without preparation, maybe someone is killed or whatever, we can still do something for them, but that's not the entire process. That's not the proper process. So one tendency that we have to try to abandon, to give up, to become liberated from, is the anxiety of the ego. of the material identification and attachment. I've seen lots of people try to compensate. Like, for example, some people who are, vegetarian, but they cannot convince anyone around them. They become stricter and stricter and stricter into their own vegetarianism. So someone who does fasting during the festivals, the pujas and everything, because nobody's listening to them. They are practically in the middle of a mess, so they become so strict in their own fasting. They don't even swallow their own saliva. What to speak of drinking water, But this is not helping. It's not helping. Because if we cannot do primary school homework, how are we going to write a university thesis, a PhD thesis? Why we would want to do that? We want to do that because of the sense of identity, identification, which is technically called ahankar. Because we have a low self-esteem due to so many problems, so many difficulties, we cannot do so many things. Then we try to compensate the low self-esteem by becoming superiority complex. The inferiority complex creates a superiority complex by compensation. But this is not solving the inferiority complex. Actually, it makes it worse. Because the superiority complex is pushing us to do things that are way above our capacity. And of course we'll fail. And the failure of actually performing that task that is way above our reach will create more inferiority complex. Because the subconscious will tell us, you see, you failed. You're not good. Now, the solution to this problem is the principle of yoga explained in Bhagavad Gita. The only way to get out of this mess is to become free from ahankara and mamattva. In fact, even the genuine teachers of the Karma Kanda, when they teach their students how to do the rituals, they instruct them to say, Idam Namama, Krishna Arpanamastu, or Vishnu Arpanamastu. Idam Namama means, you cannot remain attached to your ahankara and mamattva if you say idam namama, because idam namama is supposed to mean something. The problem is that they just do lip service. And that's not healthy. So this is why, we can give people the link to the text, but we need to put a disclaimer, big warning, that you're not going to get better results if you try to be too strict. This is why the guru is needed. Because the guru can see where the disciple is standing. Usually the disciple doesn't have a very clear perception of his own position. For so many reasons, But the guru can see it because, he's a realized person. He is intelligent. Otherwise, he's not a guru. But the guru can actually see where the disciple is standing, the position, the actual position of the disciple. So, the guru gives specific instructions, personal instructions, personalized instructions. There cannot be instructions that are good for everyone. That is called impersonalism. This is the main point. Some years back, before I left India, I was working on a book, the Puja Manual. So my idea of writing a Puja Manual was to have 4 different volumes of the same pujas. 1 volume for Brahmanas, 1 volume for Kshatriyas, 1 volume for Vaishyas, and 1 volume for Shudras. And the same basic requirements for puja detailed in a suitable form for each of the 4 categories. And the 4 categories were not by birth, but by guna and karma. So at the beginning of each volume, there would be a questionnaire to determine which varna you actually are. The questionnaire, like, okay, what is your professional occupation? Starting from that. Are you following any dietary restrictions? Are you a vegetarian? Are you eating sattvic food? Are you eating rajasic food? Are you eating tamasic food? How many hours you have in the day for doing the puja? How many hours a day you have to study? What have you studied already? Because the questionnaire is the basis, because we need to understand if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, if you're advanced, or if you just don't know what you are, or if you think you are something you're not. Because, otherwise there will be trouble. There will be trouble. There will be trouble. So, this is also applicable to the problem of the funeral. The funeral, okay, so I think we can, like, for example, we can see here, this is the complete edition, and we can see how much bigger it is. So it is 793 pages, while the other one is 106 pages. There is a difference. There is a little, it's still the Garuda Purana, but, so we are not going to read even the 106 pages, because it's long. But if someone wants to read, they can read, no problem. No. So we are going to give the links to the PDF, which is free download from internet. Anybody can get, wherever they are in the world. So we are going to close this because it's not okay. So this is the page of the Puranas, which looks like a good page. Wikipedia for once is giving some good information. So the Mahapuranas, we have the Narvan Markandeya Agni. The Bhavishya Purana, I don't agree with that. That was the Devi Bhagavata, Devi Bhagavati Purana. Anyway, we have the Garuda is here. Garuda Purana is about 19,000 verses that are presently available. And it also includes chapters on rivers, geography of India and other nations on the earth, types of minerals and stones, blah blah blah, lots of stuff that is not exactly within the topic. So then we have another one, here. Antyesthi. I went to find some from different parts. There is also this, if you want I can send you with the links also. It's okay, it's not bad. It's talking about also not only the antyesthi, but also the Nirava Panjali, which means the dispersing the immersion of the ashes, the Tarpana, the Shraddha, the Pitrupaksha, the Rasam Bhagri and the Pitrupaksha. So basically what happens, according to the various applications of the tradition, if possible, when the death is approaching, already the person is supposed to be facilitated. If possible, if comfortable enough, it should be placed near the earth to get a better, the energy of the earth. Unfortunately, lots of people are misusing this idea, so they just put the poor person on the floor. That if you live in a high-rise building is not exactly the earth. And they do that because they don't want to waste a good mattress. Well, because when someone dies on the mattress, usually the mattress is discarded. So if the mattress is very good, they put the grandfather on the floor to save the mattress. Like, oh no. This is how much they love the grandfather. Less than a mattress. But it's different because, if you are in a village, in a clean place, you go in the garden with a mat. You don't need to be, totally in the mud, But, the connection with nature is actually important. Then, of course, people around should chant, bhajan, mantras, shlokas, stutis. For example, reading the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the best, because it talks about how we are not the body. So, Bhagavad Gita usually is done. Then, when the person is dead, usually cremation is done within 24 hours. The next day, maximum. Because especially like in the summer or in a warm climate, it's not good to keep the dead body, around. So usually the feet are tied together big toes are tied together. And there is some cotton, they put some cotton in the openings of the body so that the fluids will not come out. Because when the body starts to decompose, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. So then the body is washed. Usually they also use some dahi, curd, and some water. Then it's dressed with the proper garments and tied up. And then usually with the white cloth is wrapped around. The red cloth is used only for married women. For children, small children, and sadhus, usually they can be cremated or not. Usually they were not cremated. The samadhi for the sadhus could be earth samadhi, like it is most common, most popular, or it could be jala samadhi, which is in a sacred river, or it could be agni samadhi, which is cremation. It's not that the sadhu or the sadhu cannot be cremated. It can be cremated, but there are also these two other options. Cremation is definitely the easiest thing and the most, feasible today, because the government will not allow you to put a dead body in the river. They will fish it out. This is not going to the sea. And I don't think there is sufficient crocodiles or big fish to eat the body up today. So the cremation is anyway good for everyone. Then for 11 days there is still some puja going on. Puja means we keep the picture of the deceased person who died. We can keep the picture, we can keep the lamp, the diya. We can offer some flowers, garland. We can offer some pinda already, which is the pinda is the the preta karma. Preta karma means that after death we should assume that the soul is still hanging around. We can assume that, unless the person was so liberated already that is not interested in material identifications and attachments, so it's not going to stick around, just go to Vaikuntha or Svarga or wherever, But in general, people were not very evolved. They remain around the body as ghosts, which is preta. So for 11 days, the entire family that is in contact, living in the same house of the deceased person, are considered contaminated by the association with the ghost and with the dead body, and whatever pathogen might have caused the death or might have developed after death. It's a contamination period. 10, 11 days. Then at the end of the 10 days, 11 days, the men are shaving. The men of the family are shaving. Usually, the house, if generally, traditionally, the house is whitewashed. The walls, and a new floor, and is done and everything. New pots are purchased. The old pots. This is obviously the clay pots. It's not the brass or metal or stainless steel pots. It's some cleaning of the house is required. Cleaning of the people, cleaning of the house. They take bath. Everybody take baths and wears fresh dresses after the end of the mourning period. During the mourning period, this contamination is making them practically untouchables. So especially for the first 2 days, they cannot even cook for themselves. So they have some relatives or friends or neighbors bring them food, cooked food, because they cannot touch the fire. They cannot cook. They cannot do any of their regular religious duties. If they have deities in the house, someone from the family or friends or neighbors should come and do the puja. The family itself should not do the puja. But of course, they can chant. With or without the japamala, it's not important. One can chant without the japamala. It's not difficult. Chanting and bhajan and recitation, they can get someone who read to them from books, like Gita and everything. If they remember Gita by heart or any stotra, stuti, shastra by heart, they can recite it because they are not touching anything. The idea is that they shouldn't touch stuff, especially religious things, sacred objects. For the same reason, they shouldn't go around. They shouldn't go to temple, especially because temples are also public, and they are considered contaminated. So then, at the end of this period, they purify themselves and take proper bath, and they distribute food to the brahmanas in the name of the deceased person, to give him some punya to carry away. Now, where is the soul going within this period depends not only by the atmosphere we are able to create, but also on the soul's personal evolution. Because we cannot learn for other people. Each person has to learn and evolve. Of course, we can help. We can definitely help. We should help. And especially we should be very careful not to keep the soul tied up. This, unfortunately, many people do because, they think that, they're crying, why, no. And this, they think this is a demonstration of love. But, in fact, it's a problem. Because when someone dies, they're dead. They need to move on. Otherwise, otherwise they stay stuck as ghosts. It's not a happy place, you know. So whatever evolution, whatever progress, whatever realization we had during this life, like Christians say, yam yam dvapi smaran bhavam tyajetante kalevaram. Whatever we remember at the time of death is not just what other people are reminding us. It's also what we have been thinking most frequently and systematically during our life. Because if during all our lives we have been thinking about materialistic things, when we are dying, even if people are shouting the Gita and the mantra in our ears, we will be annoyed. We will not be able to actually hear because our mind will be carried away. It is said at the time of death, we see our entire life, before our eyes. This is exactly the point. Whatever we have done during this lifetime, whatever we have desired and regretted losing, or, will all come back. So this is why we need to keep our consciousness as spiritual as possible, as transcendental as possible. If we keep our consciousness on the transcendental level, then, even if we remember other things, we'll be able to put them in the proper perspective. So it will be, we see like, we had a bad job. Okay. So when at the time of that we see this bad job, remember this bad job situation. If our consciousness is on the right level, we'll think, I was stupid. You don't think, I missed that job. If you miss that job, you go to a similar, you carry that karmic residue with you. When we die, it's like when, at that time, we pack our luggage. So we pack our luggage, we look around all the house and see what we are going to carry. If we have the proper consciousness, we'll not be attached to so much stuff. So we'll travel light. Some people are not able to travel light. I remember the first period when I was traveling in India, I was carrying a lot of stuff, including books, lots of books, But it's so difficult to travel. So in the same way, when we move on in our journey and we leave this life, we leave this station, this train station, this city, where we have been living for, any number of years, then we have to be careful what we put in the luggage. Our spiritual sadhana, our spiritual evolution, whatever we learn, will be in the luggage, because automatically, it's by default, it will be there. The lessons we still have to learn, and the scars and everything, will also go automatically in the luggage. But at that time, we'll be able to choose what to keep and what to leave behind. So, at the time of death, we should leave behind the relationships. we can carry the love and the good memories and the affection and the good things, but we have to say goodbye to people. Now, if the people we live are not willing to say goodbye, we are in trouble. We are stuck. Like your train is leaving, and you have all these children, clinging to your legs, and they don't want to let you go. That's not a benefit for the deceased. It's actually a problem. So when someone is leaving the body, there should be, I am not saying celebration, but a very sober frame of mind, condition of mind, in which people are, the family, friends, and everything. They're giving their blessings, they're, apologizing or forgiving or whatever, and giving the opportunity, encouraging the deceased to move on. This is a very important thing. Another thing, apart from dying in the hospital, which is horrible, another thing that we should really avoid is this organ donation, organ donors. The problem with organ donation is that the doctors, the physicians, have the get the profit, are interested, selfishly interested in harvesting the organs, and they're the same people who declare the actual time of death. Now we know that organs should be harvested as fresh as possible, which means the person is not really dead yet. And this can be a real trauma for the soul, for the mind of the deceased person, because he sees his body, cut apart and mutilated, and, this is so disrespectful. Autopsy, it's the same thing. What's the point of autopsy? In the vast majority of cases, autopsy is not required. Because what? Someone died, disease, accident, or whatever, so why you need the autopsy? It's disrespectful for the soul that suffers to see that his body is being disrespected. Now, the only case in which autopsy might be, a good idea, is in the case of a crime, of a murder. But even in that case, what good it will do to the dead person? It's only done for the benefit of the police, not for the benefit of the dead person. So in general, the art of dying is a very important point, because death is the last exam of this life. And what we think at the time of death, what we feel in the time around death, determines where we will go. This is, the verse of Gita we were saying before. Yam yam vapi smaran. Whatever we remember, whatever we think, whatever we feel, So The best thing would be to die very quietly, without disturbance, in the most sattvic environment, if possible with the support and comfort of family and friends, but family and friends must be supportive, should not be disruptive, should not start to fight for inheritance while the grandfather is still trying to die in peace. So, in case there is no such proper support, it's better to die alone. Better. Because it's more peaceful. More peaceful. Especially for someone who has, done sadhana, who has dedicated his life to spiritual, pursuit, self-realization. It's better to die alone, quiet, and even as I said, the sadhus or sannyasis can, they don't require cremation, they don't require funerals. Because at the time of taking sannyas, the symbolic funeral is done. Because the sannyasi is supposed to live alone in the forest, in wherever, Who is going to do his last rites? Not the family. Because the sannyasi has no family. Who is going to do the funeral rites? So at the time of entering the order of sannyas, the funeral rites are done for the sannyas. So, at the time of death, he just leaves the body and goes. No problem. The body is just material elements. They will go back to the material elements. The mind will move on. The mind is also a material element. If the sannyasi has become able to overcome the mind, to go beyond the mind, even better, the soul is free. No problem. I don't know, is this responding to your question?
Yeah, like means I have not expected this much depth of this topic. I was
exactly, I know.
thinking more about
I know. Because people don't expect that.
hmm.
They are
But
just
it was good.
expecting the superficial ritual what we do.
Yes, yes.
But I
But
think
it is
it's
good, and yeah, I think perhaps I should once read that book, like what you are telling, like 100 something pages.
Yeah,
So it will be easier for me to finish quickly,
yeah,
and then perhaps if I will be having any more doubt or more clarification regarding something, then we can discuss more.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. I'd be happy to.
yeah.
Okay, but in one meeting we are already been, about what, 1 hour, something.
More
We
than
shouldn't make it
one
too
hour.
long.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
First of all, I should read that book.
Yeah,
Then
Garuda
perhaps it
Purana.
will be
Garuda
better for
Purana,
us to.
maybe the abridged version, and then if you want to,
Yeah,
just go through quickly the complete edition,
yeah.
I'll put both links
Hmm.
in the description of the video.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes,
and
yes.
also I can send you the pieces of the research I've done
Yes.
about, but that is less because what you can find in on the internet is mostly about the local
mostly
traditions.
about the local traditions.
Yes, Garuda Purana I have read previously once, but it is not telling the philosophy behind those rituals. It is more like
That's
what we should do and what we should not do.
Bilal,
But
the problem is still studying the Shastra by
Studying the
oneself.
Shastra by oneself.
Either you have
yes,
sufficient
Either
previous
you have sufficient
preparation,
preparation,
or you need some
yes,
guidance.
or you need some guidance.
yes,
You know, someone who has
Someone
a
who
deeper
has
vision,
a deeper vision,
actual
yes,
meaning, which
a
is
actual meaning, which is
becoming rare,
becoming rare.
yes,
because usually the people, the
Usually the
priests are
people,
just going through the
priests are
motions.
just going through the motions.
yes,
They don't really know what they're doing.
They don't really know what they're doing.
So that's dangerous.
That's dangerous.
yes.
Okay. Okay, so for today I think
Okay, so
it's
for today I
sufficient.
think
Thanks.
Hmm.
it's sufficient. Thanks.
Yes,
We
yes.
keep in touch by WhatsApp.
We keep in touch by WhatsApp.
Yeah. We can stop the recording. I have to ask another
Yeah, okay.
question.
Jai Jagannath.
Okay. Jai Jagannath.